Jai Baba, everyone. Jai Meher Baba. My name is Irma Sheppard, and I'm pleased to present Truth and Tact, a short play I adapted from a story told by Eruch in his book, That's How It Was. Now, to introduce the cast, we have Elaine Cox as the narrator. Elaine. We have Arthur Trupp as the perfect master, and Chris Barker as the perfect master's disciple. There's the Gordon Neal as the town innkeeper, and Fred Zimmerman as the teacher. And last and not least is Ray Lee as the teacher's closest disciple. At the end of the play, we will have a few minutes for comments, questions, and discussion. We hope you enjoy this play. Without further ado, we present Truth and Tact.
There was a teacher in a certain town, and he was well known and highly respected. Every day he would give discourses, and people would come and listen to him. Now, once a year at this town, there was a great festival, an Urs, like our Amartithi, commemorating the passing away of some great spiritual figure. And every year during this 4-day festival, thousands of pilgrims would come and flock to the town to take part. This year, it so happened that a master and his disciples came to the town. But because it was the time of the Urs, there were no rooms to be had anywhere. All the hotels were full. All the guest houses, every vacant room had been let. There was no accommodation whatsoever, not even a wayfarer's hut. The disciples went throughout the town asking,
"You have a room for us? Is there a room somewhere? Just one room?"
Gordon, unmute yourself.
No, there's no room. But there is a teacher who owns much property and has many outbuildings where his pupils live. It is just possible that somewhere on his property, there's a room that you can have.
Thank you, thank you.
and so they made their way to the teacher's property.
"Oh, teacher, we were told you may have a room for us. We would be so obliged just for a room."
Yes, I do in fact have a room. It is on the other side of my property, but it is far from my residence, but you could have it for a short while.
"Yes, yes, we will only want it for 4 days and then we will be going away."
All right, you may use the room for 4 days, but then you must leave.
"Yes, yes, definitely. After 4 days, we will leave. Thank you so much."
So the master and his disciples moved into the room on the teacher's property. Now the next day, the festival began, and as usual, many people came to hear the teacher deliver his discourse. Though the crowd was large, it was not as large as the teacher expected.
What has happened? Fewer people come to the festival than last year?
No, more came than last year.
Then why is the crowd so small?
I don't know. Do you want me to try to find out?
Yes, please do so.
So the disciples started asking questions, and he found out that the master had also given a discourse that morning, and that many people had gone to hear him. He reported this to the teacher, who was not pleased.
Oh, well, let it be. They have heard him talk, and now their curiosity is fulfilled. And this evening's discourse will be as usual.
But that evening, there were even fewer people than in the morning to hear this teacher. And the next day, there were fewer still. Each day, fewer and fewer people came to hear the teacher, until nobody came to hear him. Almost all flocked to the perfect master. The teacher was very upset at this. This had never happened before, and he was furious.
To the goodness of my heart, I have given that ingrate and his disciples a room to stay in, and this is how he repays me, by attracting all the crowds to himself?
The only thing that kept his anger in check was the thought that tomorrow the perfect master and his disciples would be leaving. And then he wouldn't have to worry about it anymore. So as soon as the 4 days were up, he breathed a sigh of relief and got ready to give his followers his discourse that morning, with the expectation that he would have a nice sized crowd for once. But other than his closest disciple, no one came to hear him. The teacher could not restrain himself.
Go see if that man is still staying on my property. And if he is, tell him to leave immediately. He gave his word that he would only stay for 4 days. Tell it out, as I don't want him staying here. Tell him to leave immediately.
The disciple went and approached the perfect master, who was still there.
Gracious sir, my master sends his greetings to you. As you know, he has been very busy these past 4 days, so he has not been able to greet you personally as he would have liked. So he has sent me to make sure that your stay has been comfortable and to thank you for gracing his premises these past 4 days.
Oh, that is most good of him. Please tell him that we are very grateful to him and that we understand his inability to greet us personally.
My master also wants to know whether there is anything you need. Now, as you prepare to leave, is there anything which can make your journey more comfortable?
We have everything, thank you. Would you tell your master that we appreciate his extraordinary thoughtfulness? But there is nothing we need. As soon as we pack up our belongings and say our prayers, we will be off.
The disciple went back and reported to the teacher that he had delivered the message and that the perfect master had replied that they would be leaving that day. The teacher was satisfied. But the next day, the same thing happened. No one came to his discourse, and he found out that the perfect master still hadn't left.
Go and order him to leave. He gave his word that he would only stay for 4 days. Tell him he has overstayed his welcome and he must leave at once, or I will come and throw him out.
The disciple went and respectfully greeted the perfect master.
Gracious sir, my master sent me because he is worried about your health. You told me yesterday that you would be leaving. And so he fears that you must have become indisposed because you're still here. He is anxious for me to find out if there's any medicine you need or if he should send for a doctor. He apologizes for not coming in person as he wanted to, but he's very busy. But he was most particular that I come, for he is sure you must have fallen ill. Otherwise you would have left, as you had promised to do. So he wants me to see if there's anything we can do for you.
Would you tell your master that, as always, he is most kind. But tell him not to worry. There is no illness here. It's just that this is such a beautiful spot. So peaceful, so sanctified by the countless pilgrims who have come and prayed, that I could not bring myself to leave as I had planned. However, it's not good for us to stay too long, for surely we might become attached to this place rather than to the Lord himself. And so we will definitely be leaving tomorrow right after morning bath and prayers.
The disciple went back and reported this conversation to the teacher.
Master,
But what he said was,
Master, they apologized profusely for overstaying, but the circumstances were such that they had to prolong their stay. However, they assure me that tomorrow morning, right after their baths and prayers, they will be leaving.
but once again, the next morning, the teacher discovered that although it was now 10 o'clock, they still hadn't left. He grabbed a big staff and started to head out of the house so he could personally thrash these rascals who kept breaking their word and refusing to leave after promising to do so. The disciple knew what was in his master's mind, so he quickly interceded.
Master, wait 1 moment. There's no point in going there now. They won't be there.
Well, it's precisely because they are there that I'm going.
Oh, yes, I know that. But Many have the custom at this hour of the morning to go out for a walk. So why tire yourself with the long walk to their place when there's a good chance they won't even be there? Why not wait for an hour or so?
This made sense, and the teacher put down his staff, muttering to himself how he would beat some sense into them when they returned. The disciple rushed off to the master and again greeted him with every sign of respect.
Gracious sir, my master is very upset because he is sure now that you must be ill. And that's why you keep postponing your leaving. On top of this, he feels very badly that he has not come to see you as he should have long before now. So he is coming to inquire about your health and to ask your forgiveness for his rudeness in not greeting you as he should have.
Hearing this, the master stood up, gestured to his mandali to follow, and said,
Your master should not come to see me. I am his guest. It is my duty to go personally to thank him for his kindness and generosity.
With that, the master leaves the room and starts walking to the teacher's house, which is at the other end of the property. Meanwhile, the teacher has gotten so mad thinking about the master staying so long that he forgets that the master is supposed to be out walking. He picks up his staff and rushes out of the house. So he is walking toward the master as the master is approaching him. When the master sees the teacher, he hastens forward and bows down before the teacher and embraces him with great love and tenderness. Because he is a perfect one, without a word being said, that embrace opens the teacher's heart. The master begins thanking the teacher for his hospitality and praising his generosity and thoughtfulness and consideration to the skies. The teacher is impressed and thinks to himself,
Here I have said so many rude things about this man, and I have ordered him off my property, and now I've come to thrash him, and yet he's able to greet me like this. This is truly a remarkable man.
and he invites the master to come to his house so he can personally serve him some tea before he leaves. The master accepts, and before long, the teacher and the master are sitting comfortably, drinking tea, eating snacks, and chatting, as if they have been lifelong friends. The more time he spends in the master's presence, the more the teacher is impressed with him. He begins to understand why people would flock to hear his talk. In his own heart, he can see now how shallow his own talks were, how little he had to offer. For when confronted with love, the intellect realizes its irrelevance. In the master, the teacher sees his own dry discourses brought to full fruition, and he realizes for the first time that merely talking about spiritual topics can never satisfy the way a taste of divine love can. When the master finally takes his leave, the teacher is distressed to see him go and is now begging him to stay a little longer. But the master says he must go, that his work here is finished, and he leaves with all his mandali walking behind. The teacher turns to his disciple and says,
There goes the most remarkable man you should ever meet.
Yes, truly, he is one of the great ones.
And just think, in spite of all my rude words that I sent through you, he is like this.
The disciple doesn't say anything. After a few moments, the teacher gets suspicious and says,
You did. Tell me, you did deliver all my messages to him?
Yes, every time I went and told him what you told me to say.
You gave him my message?
Yes,
In the exact words and the exact tone of voice that I used?
well, no, not in the exact words and with the exact tone of voice that you used. How could I, a mere disciple, hope to achieve the exact words and the tone of my master?
Then what did you convey to him?
Master, whatever I have learned in my long years of living with you, that's what I conveyed to him.
You have saved me from a great mistake and in proving yourself to be the perfect disciple. You have become the master to the teacher.
and this is how it should be. This is what Baba wanted and expected of us. Meher Baba said, "The truth when told is that which uplifts another. Anything which crushes another person cannot be truth." And this attitude becomes second nature when you are determined to be his. Avatar Meher Baba Ki Jai.
Tremendous, tremendous. What a great play. I'm going to allow unmuting if people want to make a comment.
Bravo, well done. And I remember Eric telling that same story, so it was particularly delightful to see it brought to life digitally.
Wonderful. Thank you. That's really good.
Yeah, thank you. It does have its challenges doing it on Zoom.
It turned out wonderfully.
Yeah, you guys really made it work.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Well, we can thank Irma, of course, who did the translation. Hey, Irma!
Hey,
Let's hear it
Irma.
for our
Yeah.
author.
I think that we enjoyed this. I think that we enjoyed the process very. I know that I did, and just being in close contact with each of you, I know that there was a great deal of enjoyment and satisfaction in doing this, and I thank each of you as well. You did wonderfully.
Thank you.
And I thought it worked wonderfully well on Zoom because we could just focus right in on each character and really listen to what they said. There weren't other distractions. I thought it worked very well. Well done.
Great.
Yeah, felt good.
The transfer of the hats was really a beautiful touch.
I totally agree. That was really well done.
It worked, didn't it? Yeah.
It did.
It took
Great.
50 rehearsals, but it did work.
We didn't,
Only exaggerates a tiny bit.
we could shove that hat through the internet, but it worked.
It's a very cool trick you guys developed. We want to know how to send cake through the same means.
Yes.
All that leftover birthday cake.
Yeah.